Guys, Eric Kyler, publisher of Great Lakes Scuttlebutt Magazine. I'm excited to be joined today by David Cutsworth of Savvy Navvy. Savvy Navvy is a brilliant app that's out of the European market right now, and they're coming our way here into the US. So I wanted to just take a minute and have you guys learn a little bit more from David about what Savvy Navvy is. And with that, David, I'll turn it over to you. Tell us, what is Savvy Navvy?
Eric, thank you for having me. Really good to speak to you. Savvy Navvy, it's basically it's a navigational app to help boaters. So whether you're a power boater, a sailor, paddleboard, a kayak, a jet skier, any way of getting out on the water, we want to help you guys. So we integrate as many data sources as we can. I remember when I did my AWE Yachtmaster course in the UK many years ago, I was looking at paper charts, I was looking at weather files, I was looking at tide tables, trying to work out passage plans, and it would take me 2 hours to do a passage plan. Then I'd forget to factor in tidal drift, and I'd be 5 degrees off course. And, you know, so we're trying to simplify all of that. So we bring all the data sources within our app, which you can use on an Android, Apple, tablet, phone, PC, Mac, whatever you want. And we integrate all the data sources. So it's just like using Google in your car. You know, you've got Apple CarPlay, you plug your phone into your car, it does everything for you. So you open Savvy Navvy, drop a pin in your current location, you drop a pin where you want to go. 2 seconds later, it's worked out your optimum route, taking into account thousands of different data points. So it's looking at underwater hazards, it's looking at depth, it factors in your own specific boat parameters, so your draft, your waterline length, your boat polars. It analyzes the weather, it analyzes tide if you're coastal, and then it works out your route for you. So it takes away all of the things that I used to get wrong and many boaters forget to do, or things that take us a long time to do. So we're trying to really save you time and simplify your planning. So when we go out on the water, what we want to do is have as much fun as we can, as quickly as we can, and we want to be safe. So we're trying to save you time and keep you guys safe. We have hydrographic office data, so we use NOAA data in the US, we use UKHO data in the UK, we've got global chart data. So I think a couple of ways we're different from other players in this market. If you subscribe to Savvy Navvy, we give you global charts. Most of the players will sell you a regional pack, and then if you travel, you've got to buy a bit more, and then you buy a bit more. If you use paper charts, you're used to this as well. You'll buy a chart for the Great Lakes, you'll buy a chart for the East Coast of the US, you'll buy a different chart for the Keys, a different chart everywhere you go. We figure, look, we might as well give everybody access to everything. So you get global charts, global weather, global tidal data, global marina data, anchorage data, points of interest, everything you need to know. So as one subscription. You mentioned that we're coming to the US. We launched in the US last year. We've got probably close to 300,000 users now around the world, and the US is already our biggest market.
Hey, I downloaded Savvy Navvy a couple of weeks ago. My friend Tina and I sail out of Norfolk in the lower Chesapeake Bay, and it gives me a great reference. It's got tides, weather, and wind. And sometimes I don't stay right on the line, but it's a great reference. I use my charts also, but Savvy Navvy is a great app. I think it's got a lot of potential. I use a hotspot to power mine, but you can download your charts and use them offline, and that will work also. So have a great day.
We've launched a freemium version of the app in the US. So what's really interesting in the US is NOAA give away their chart data. They don't charge anything. Whereas most other hydrographic officers, you have to pay to license their data. So, so subscribers in the rest of the world have to pay to get Savvy Navvy. In the US, we've got a freemium version and then a premium. So depending on the features you want, you can kind of decide which to go for. But absolutely, as a starting point, you download the app, you need an email address and a password, you pay nothing, and you can navigate all around the US with NOAA data, weather, tide. We've added some supplementary bathymetry data that we've built from our own satellite models. So in lots of parts of the US, Northeast at the moment, and then we're working our way around the coastline. We've actually got more depth and bathymetry data than NOAA have got because we've added a secondary model. So yeah, we're here to simplify my life, your life, and everybody else's.
Well, thank you, David. That is an absolutely brilliant description of what Savvy Navvy is. I've enjoyed the app myself for just about a year now, and looking forward to continuing to work with you guys in a lot of different ways. So the biggest thing that I take away from this is safety. There are a million and one things to consider in order to be safe when you get out on the water, not just throwing on a life jacket, but considering your course, what the navigation hazards are, what the weather is going to present to you, what's going on at the destination you're going to, what the traffic is like. All of that information has to be processed in order to get out on the water and have a successful trip and enjoy yourself out on the water. So Savvy Navvy brings a degree of safety and security to your adventures out in the open water that no other app that I know of can do. So for that, we greatly appreciate it. And I've also noticed as a sailor, I would, certainly appreciate this as I look through some of the different chart or different courses that I've plotted with Savvy Navvy. It told me what type of reach I'll be on, a broad reach here, a beam reach there. And yeah. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. But this is also good for power boaters as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We've got lots of features in the app that people don't always realize, or they don't realize just how it's working. So if you're plotting a course over 6 hours, and we'll factor in tidal drift, it'll tell you when you need to tack or jibe. As you said, it'll tell you what point of sail you're on. But not just at the point when you're plotting that course, it's updating your course constantly in real time. So as the tide changes, it's updating your route and giving you 4 hours into your journey, into your passage, it's telling you what the tide is doing in 4 hours, not when you're starting. It's really interesting from a powerboat point of view. So what we're looking at here is, you don't need to tack and jibe if you're on a powerboat, but you either want a comfortable ride. If you're coastal and you've got wind over tide and it's really bumpy, then it's really uncomfortable. Depending on the weather conditions, you've got bigger swell. So you've got the comfort to think about. You don't want to be slamming your boat, especially if you're going out, you're with your family. You've got a beer or a gin and tonic in the UK is pretty typical. And you want to enjoy your time. The other really important factor and very topical at the moment are fuel prices. So by looking at the environmental factors, we can help you save fuel costs. So we could say to you that a departure schedule and a comparison within the app, we might say, Eric, if you stay on the dock for another half an hour, go and have another coffee. The wind's going to back, it's going to be behind you instead of in front of you. You're going to save 10% on your fuel costs when you go out today. If you leave in an hour, the wind's going to change again and it's going to be against you. So your fuel usage is going to go up. So from a powerboat point of view, we're looking at making sure you have a comfortable day and saving you money on your fuel.
Is there any user-generated data that's involved in Savvy Navvy? So if I'm out there cruising around and I see all of a sudden there's a navigation hazard out in the water, is there some way that I can let others know through using Savvy Navvy, kind of like a Waze on the water? Is that something that you guys do?
It's not something right now. It's something that's on our roadmap. So typically the things you can do now, you can plot your route. We've got live GPS tracking. You can save your route. You can send it to your family. If you say, okay, I'm expecting to arrive at 4 o'clock. If by 4:30 they haven't heard from you, then they can give you a call, figure out where you are. So sharing your route is a really nice one. Sharing it with your buddies. If you've plotted a really nice route, you went out and you had a great time, you can say, this is where I went last weekend. It was fantastic. We do have the functionality on our roadmap to be able to share hazards. We're looking at things like weather alerts, so pushing weather notifications within the app. So you've got a big squall coming up. we will tell you about it. You can then report it as well.
Sharing a float plan with either your Marina Harbor Master or some of your family or friends, other dock mates, is always a good idea before you leave the dock anytime. Let them know where you're going, when you're going to be there. What I'm curious about is, you know, I've just kind of gotten into the power boating side here over the last couple of years with a small center console. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot more navigation hazards out there in a power boat because I'm dealing with shallower water. That I'm willing to go into than compared to my sailboat. And for a powerboat, it's not just really point and shoot, but you really got to know where you're going. And this type of software will help with that.
Yeah, and you're moving a lot quicker generally as well. So you need to make quicker decisions. You need to have data at your fingertips. You know, the whole idea of Savvy Navvy is we're your chart plotter in your pocket.
Yeah.
So wherever you are, we are, and we're helping you. I think, you know, that the days are coming to an end of £5,000 or $5,000 single-use chart plotters that sit on your boat and they only do one job. It's a waste of plastic. It's a waste of electronics that go out of date. You know, your smartphone has got more processing power than most chart plotters have got, and it's always with you. So pre-planning or sat on your sofa before you go out, you use Savvy Navvy. When you're on the boat, you're using it, and it's always there at your fingertips. When you get home, you can use it to review what you've just done. So we can really complete that boating journey and cycle with you.
Well, one last question I have for you, David, because this is always a concern for most boaters when they're out here on the Great Lakes, I'm sure in open oceans as well. I'm a few miles off ashore. I don't have any connectivity to the tower. So if I want to check Facebook or check my favorite sports score or something like that, I'm dead in the water if I'm just a couple miles offshore. What does Savvy Navvy do to correct that?
Yeah, before you leave the dock, you download the chart pack for your immediate area and download the weather. So yeah, from a connectivity point of view, when you're in the marina, you can use the app. You don't need to download any data. When you're heading out, you scroll, choose the chart area that you need, click download, and away you go. It's saved locally on your device.
Well, that's brilliant. Kind of like when I'm going to go on a plane and I know I'm not going to be able to use the Wi-Fi up there. I got to download the movie and then watch it during the flight. So same kind of thing. When I'm at the marina, I figure out my float plan. I put in my chart plotting information. I get it all on my device, and I don't need to be connected to Wi-Fi when I'm 3 miles offshore because I'll have that float plan already, or that course already charted on my phone.
Absolutely, yeah, and you can replot. So you know, you've got the chart data, you've got the weather, so you can use it in exactly the same way as if you were online. You can replot, you can change your plans, you can have a look at different areas. Yeah, you get full functionality.
Brilliant. So tell me if I'm interested in getting the freemium version of Savvy Navvy or want to check out the premium version, especially here in the US, where am I going to go online? What am I going to do, David?
So you can check out our website, www.savvy-navvy.com, and we'll post the address. It's savvy, savvy-navvy.com, and that will take you straight to either of the app stores, Google Play Store or the Apple Store, or go directly to the stores and just type in Savvy Navvy. It'll hit you straight up.
Outstanding. I certainly am glad to be a part of that ever-growing community that Savvy Navvy is acquiring around the globe. You guys are doing a wonderful thing. We greatly appreciate it, David. Thanks again for your time. Everybody, I want you guys to go to Savvy Navvy, savvy-navvy.com. Check it out. Wonderful app. Doing a lot of good for us as boaters. So thanks, David. We'll see you out on the water, my friend.
Pleasure. See you, Eric. Thanks.